everybody, we're back. Welcome to Anime. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to AnimeInkArt Live Talks. We're back. We're back for the start of the weekend of all the good shows that we have for you guys. So today we have an amazing show for you ahead of you guys. So I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you guys had a good Friday. It's finally Friday. Thank God. Whoever was on the East Coast, we had that snowstorm. We were dealing with the aftermath of that for, it seems like, for so long. It was a short and long week at the same time. So definitely welcome into the show. For those that may not know what this show is about, this is AnimeInkArt Live Talks, where we talk with different creators in the community about their journey in content creation, how we can support each other better in the community. So today we have very, very special guest, Vashmere Valentine. So they're a very accomplished filmmaker, screenwriter, now comic book author as well. So a lot of their work prior to being the head writer and the head writer at Next Step Comics. They're also the creator and the author of Pepper Piper Monster Hunter, which is under Next Step Comics. And they've also had critically acclaimed films and TV shows before doing the comic as well. So definitely let's give them a warm welcome and let's get started. Hello. Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just feel humble to be here. I watched the show and heard great things about it. I've seen the interview, so I just want to thank you for giving creative a chance to be on a show like this. It really means a lot.
Well, first off, I'm more than honored and flattered that you've seen the show and you appreciate what I do with the show. I really appreciate it. I don't know, sometimes I still get shocked that so certain people watch the show.
Oh yeah.
So for those that may not know who you are, introduce yourself and what you do.
Sure. My name is Vashmere Valentine, and I am the author of the comic book series Pepper Piper Monster Hunter, which is created and published by Next Step Comics.
That's awesome. And I wanted to start because I feel like everything aligned the way it's supposed to. All the work that you were doing prior and everything that you're doing now, it makes sense that you created this wonderful story that you created. And first I wanted to ask, what got you into writing in general? Because you did screenwriting and you did film before you dived into comics. So what got you into writing?
Well, I always tell the story about how when I was a child, my mother absolutely hated anything that had to do with horror or so we weren't watching Eddie Murphy Raw, we weren't watching Terminator and stuff like that. We were watching The Never Ending Story, or we were watching Pan's Labyrinth. Well, it was a labyrinth by Jim Henson, but that's all she played, that's all she trusted.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a love for fantasy and wanting to do it. And I remember how much of a big imagination I had as a child. So it was important for me to really want to bring that to the youth, that came after me.
Mm-hmm.
Things is that most of these characters weren't of color. So that was one of the changes that I wanted to make, because, while I was sitting up here, and indulging in all this fantasy, I always wondered well, where was I? Why am I not in this? And so that kind of was a spark that led to my writing.
That's awesome. And definitely I wanted to talk about one of your series that got a lot of nominations, and I feel because it all goes into the type of stories you're already creating. Hopefully I said this correctly, The Wish and the Wisp.
Yep, said it right.
Was the one of your babies, your birth childs, and it got a lot of recognition at different conventions as well as film festivals and nominations. So what inspired the story as well? Because it's also very diverse.
Absolutely. So The Wish and the Wisp was inspired by The Cat in the Hat. It was one of my I think third or fourth stories that I ever wrote. And it was definitely inspired by the fact that I was reading a lot of fiction younger. Mm-hmm. It tells the story of a small young girl who is into fairy tales and things like that, and her annoying older brother who wants nothing to do with it, and how she finds a real wish, but also finds the menacing creature that wants to steal it back from her.
And I want to say, what was the process like before you got to bring it out to the world? And now, years later, after you've been able to do so much with it, how did you feel about the response? Like when it first came out and like people were like getting you're getting eyes on it.
It was interesting because I don't think that people were used to seeing a person of color create work like that. There were several different conventions and things like film festivals that we have been to. One of them, honestly, being Dragon Con. We premiered at Dragon Con in Atlanta. And one of the things I can never forget is that we would usually have somebody come up and go, "Hey, love the short, thought it was amazing, but you can get sued for that." And I would get sued for what? And they would say, "Well, the rhymes in the story, like you can't use those. That belongs to Dr. Seuss." And I was like, "I wrote those rhymes."
Yeah.
They were like, "You wrote those?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wrote those rhymes." And they were like, "Oh, sorry." So I was like, I had to get used to that. And I guess I should say they needed to get used to that because they weren't used to, a person of color writing stories like that. And that was kind of one of the, I guess, what really started to spearhead the decision in my mind to continue to write works like that, because it was like they were acknowledging how great it was, but they just didn't want to acknowledge that it came from somebody that looked like I did. So they were there to acknowledge the quality of it and the writing, but they just didn't really want to acknowledge that somebody like us could write like that.
Wow, I mean, even now in 2026, they're still trying to do that. And it's just like, come on.
Still trying, and it's and I will say, like, it's definitely gives. It was inspired by Tim Burton, Jim Henson, that kind of aesthetic of the 80s. So, it touched with a lot of people that saw it. There is actually like a Muppet in the movie.
Yeah.
So it really gave like that real original raw 80s fantasy film, which is like what I went for. And I think because they weren't used to seeing somebody like us do that really threw them off. And no matter where it played, that was always the constant, thing that seemed to be continuously playing on and on. As it was always like, "You wrote that?" And I was like, yeah, I wrote that. I can write more too, but
you just have to wait and see.
like, not that hard is writing. Like,
I mean, for some people it's very hard. Like some people can't, spell, but so like get alone.
But you know what? I have to. I always say like, no, don't talk about that. But I will say this too. It was, I think, one of the things that kind of, I don't want to say confused me, but agitated me. A lot of times, I was surprised by how many African American film festivals were like, "We don't show kids films," and I was like, "Well, it's not a kid film. It's a film. It's a fantasy film," And they were like, "Well, yeah, we don't show that." So it was just funny because I received kind of like a weird negativity from both ends. And that was hard for me to really deal with internally because, on one end, I would have people say, "Well, Black people don't watch fantasy." And I was like, "That's strange." And then I would have other people that would say, "Oh, well, change the characters." So it was like this weird dynamic where I was in the middle and I couldn't go left and I couldn't go right. So I was just kind of stuck in the middle. So it's good for me, somebody like me, to see how much the blurred community has risen because those are the people that are saying, "No, we do watch this stuff. We do love this stuff." And that's the fan base that I have always yearned for.
Yeah, and it's definitely awesome that the community has embraced you the way they have. And also, I wanted to talk about one of the television series that you had as well. How you got that opportunity to create that like script for that TV show as well.
Oh, so that was I believe it was the CJ. Yeah. So it didn't make it to getting shot. But the script was shopped around a lot. And the idea pretty much came from the fact that years ago, I actually started my journey writing as a children's book writer. And some of the children's books that I wrote at that time, which was self-published, was one called The Dream Stowaway and another one called Michael's Wonderful World of Wishes. And during that time, I actually wrote underneath a pen name, which was CJ Pumpkins or Christopher Jonathan Pumpkins. So I had wrote those two fantasy books, and then of course I had a slew of other ones that I hadn't even written. And I was so frustrated that the industry itself wasn't interested in that. So I created a TV show that was based on pretty much all of the different fantasy ideas I had and that collection. And being as though that I'm a huge fantasy lover myself, I thought it would be awesome if there was a group of blurs that were off looking for this quote unquote author that they were in love with because he went missing. And it would be even cooler if they found themselves in the worlds that he created. So it kind of like worked together in that sense.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And you also had like a reimagining of like Santa Claus, where it's centered around like African American Claus family.
Yes, dating Mr. Claus. Yes.
And I was like, what is Fire Duck? I think it's like very cool, like how like everything that I've seen that like you've created, there's always like something to make sure that you represent, underrepresented minority groups. So what was like the inspiration, or like, because everybody has like inspiration, like they were watching something or like based on experience. What inspired you to do that particular story?
Terrible Hallmark movie.
Yes. I say the same.
Literally, terrible Hallmark movies. Terrible Hallmark movies and the lack of fantasy in the African American community. Those were two. And during that time, I was working with a couple different companies, and at that time, I believe Django. What was it? Django. What was it? It was a Netflix series that came, or a Netflix movie that came out that was written and directed by an African American couple. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It was Django something. But it was a huge production, and it received rave reviews. And Amazon and a couple other companies at the time was like, "We need a fantasy. We need Black fantasy. Black fantasy's in. It's in. It's in. Right." And one of my colleagues at the time was like, "V, you're all over fantasy. Like, can you put something together for it?" And I was like, "Dude, you could do anything. Just do it." Like, I know. So I was like, "All right, I got something."
Yeah.
And at that point in time, dating apps were kind of like in.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be cool if Santa Claus's son needed to become the next Santa Claus, but in order to do it, he needed to find somebody to marry to become Mrs. Claus. So that was like kind of like the rule, like you had to have a Mrs. Claus before you could take over the Santa Claus position. It would be even cooler if the young Santa Claus's son at that time was like not interested in all these fairy tale-esque females and was like, I don't like anyone like this. So I was like, well, where would he find a real woman? Yeah. And a dating app. Like that's where people go. So I was like, well, then who would create a dating app? And I was like, Cupid would. It'd be easy. Cupid would be like, why am I still sticking people with arrows? Why don't I just create a dating app? So in the story, that's exactly what happens. They go to Cupid to find Sean, that's his name, Sean Claus, a future Mrs. Claus. Mm-hmm. And Cupid's like, I don't do that anymore, dude. This is the 2000s. Like, I got a dating app. Like, you can use that. And they actually go on the dating app and they wind up finding somebody for him. So that's when that whole Hallmark situation takes place, where Sean like finds her and he's interested in her. So he goes on this journey away from the North Pole and tries to go find the love of his life. But one of the coolest things, again, like you mentioned, is it's an all Black cast. So Santa is Black, Mrs. Claus is Black. There's a Prince Charming in this world. He was played by an attractive African American. Like it was just a beautiful cast, and it was really nice. It was really well received.
Yeah, that's I just love the explanation of the story too. It just like drawed me in.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was so cool, and like our Santa Claus had like gray dreadlocks, so he was like so cool. I was interested in finding Silverthroat. I know that's his nickname, but you might know him. He does the voiceover, a very dark voice. He did the voice work for so many different works. And he's done so much television over the years, but he's a well-known African-American figure. We had the Snow Queen, who was also in it, which was like somebody that was like a wizard. I mean, she was not a witch, but she was a snow. She was the one that kept the barrier around the North Pole, kept Santa Claus's place like, very ambiguous or, hidden. And she was going to be played by Whoopi Goldberg. So it was just like this all-star stellar cast. It was going to be cute. It was going to be very like homey. Yeah, it was, but of course they looked at that and they were like, this is too Black. So I was like, oh, well.
You're like, what am I supposed to do?
Right, You asked me for something Black, I gave you something Black, and then you're Black. So I don't know how much Black to take away to make too much seasoning. And I was like, all right, well, it's made. I don't know what you want me to do. It's cooked. Like, I can't undo the cooking. Like, it's cooked. Can't take away seasoning. I don't know what you want to do. So that didn't fly with them. So I was like, well, you can kick rocks. I'm not changing it.
If I had a mic that I could afford to drop
That's kind of my history with the industry is like I create things and they're like, this is awesome. This is ridiculous. Like, who would write this? And and then they go, well, what's up with the cast? And I'm like,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
They're like, there's a problem with the cast. And I'm like, okay, well, and it's funny. And then I just get off my soapbox. But the Wish and a Wisp. So this is a true. I don't think I can get in trouble for telling this real fast. But so the Wish and a Wisp. Again, I was working with somebody else in the industry, really good people, and this was like right before COVID hit. And at that time, of course, me being a Tim Burton fan and everything, when people saw the Witch and the Wisp and they saw how well it was doing, they were like, "This is great. You know who would be great to play the Wisp?" And I was like, "Who?" And it was like Johnny Depp. And I was like, "Of course, that's exactly like I'm all for that, right? Either Johnny Depp or Jim Carrey. I would be happy. More so with Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp had never worked, as far as I know, with an African American director.
Yeah,
so I'm like, that's a double win for me, So they came back and they said, well, Johnny Depp is only going to be working on pieces of work that involve his daughter because he really wants to see her career take off. And I was like, I'm a writer, say less. So I actually wrote a script where there were two wisps. One would be played by him, one would be played by his daughter. And again, it was a situation where like, this is amazing. Right. Everybody loves Johnny. Everybody wants to see him play another character that's cool, like this kind of cat character, which the Wisp was. And it was like, but we noticed that your family is, and I was like, yeah, is the family. Can we make some other choices? And I was like, no. No, we're not making other choices. Like this is the thing for our community is to see such a well-versed actor playing a story that involves two Black kids in a fantasy where they realize that there are real wishes in the world and there's these creatures that want to steal them. Like, no, like this has to happen. And again, ran into that same wall. So that's kind of like been my experience, if you would, is being pressured to make changes that I didn't feel like making.
Well, I feel like I love that, like, you're just breaking that barrier. Like, nah, we need these stories, and we in the community definitely appreciate it. So I definitely want to talk about Next Step Comics, how you came up with the idea for Pepper Piper Monster Hunter, because boy, what a story that is. So what inspired you to create it, and how did you align with Next Step Comics to start writing and everything like that?
So after I decided to take like a leave from the film industry, I was just kind of thinking about things that I should work on next and what should be something cool. And I noticed that there were certain fantasies that I haven't had the chance to play with yet. And then one day I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could play with maybe like the Pied Piper? Like that fantasy is really cool. I was like, but I would need to expand on it. I would need to explain where it came from and how it started. Started playing with that idea in my mind, and it was literally, I remember it was like 2:00 in the morning or something, the word pepper came to my mind, and I was like, Pepper Piper. And I was like, that's clever. I was like, that's cool. I was like, all right, so let's run with that. And literally, I stayed up from 2 and just stayed up the rest of the night working. What's funny is that at the same time I was doing that, I was having conversations with my two nieces who are both biracial.
Hmm.
So as I was talking to them, I was hearing about their experiences being biracial, in school, being bullied by some people, and people wanting them to make choices of size, and just hearing their experience. And I was like, wow, this would be a really cool backstory for a character, like a heart story, just to give the character something to, to
Hmm.
sit with, to have this continuous thing going on. So I was like, all right, I want to work with that. At that same time, some of my colleagues that I did know were saying, hey, we're interested in starting a comic book company. Could you write a story about a female for us that would empower women?
Hmm.
She would have to be young. She would have to be cool. She would have to be strong. She would have to be. I mean, they went down this incredible list, and
Yeah.
it was, and she has to be able to like literally be someone that can speak for everyone. And
Mm.
that's impossible. I'm, but good luck. And by the weekend, I had sat there and he said, "Well, just think about it and let us know." And by the weekend, I had Pepper Piper. Um,
Mm.
so I was able to contact them back and say, "I think I have something that might stick," and that was kind of like the birth of it.
Wow, I mean, I just love that because you're just like, I just like this will. It definitely stuck. It definitely stuck, and it's so cool. And I want to ask some because I've heard like multiple interviews, and even when you talk about the story, how like this is because first off, it's a mixture of like comics, manga, but it's his own thing entirely.
Mhm.
And how you say it's like an ode to all of the fantasy, all of the 80s era, like nostalgia, folklore that, inspired, the story. And like it's an ode to all the creators that, inspired you. So first off, because how you have the fable system and the different things from different folklore, what got you into like the 80s? Because I also see like the 80s nostalgia. What got you into the 80s nostalgia and like the folklore particularly? And how was it for you growing up getting into those things and like and stuff like that? Especially as like a black person in like your area. I'm not sure how it was and like how people responded to you having those interests.
Oh, teasing. Teasing and getting made fun of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be the kid that came to school and was like, "Did anybody see Legend?" And they would be like, "No." Like, what are you talking about? Like nobody saw that, and I would be like, "Oh," or and so the fantasy, having that fantasy love was like obviously not always appreciated, but what it did is it locked in certain things about that timeline that I always had appreciated, and I was like, well, if anybody else was a nerd at that time period, if I can place those things and pay homage to the people that actually started it, people will see those things and they will remember them. So when I was writing this story, I was like, I wanted to almost be like a huge Easter egg hunt where you could see little parts of all different types of things that you've seen over the years all blossom into this one thing. Like, I know a lot of creators use the term universe, especially since Marvel throws that word around so much. So if I needed to use that term when it comes to the universe that Pepper exists, I would say that Pepper's universe is literally composed of everything that's ever been fantasy.
Yeah.
So, whether it's been a small creature from like whatever, like maybe a movie like A Princess's Bride, right? Pieces of that movie exist in her universe, right?
Yeah.
Of Legend exist in her universe. Pieces of Ghostbusters exist in anything fantastical exist in her universe. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, parts of her exist in like, anything you can imagine has to do with vampires, witches, monsters, anything over all the years. Some piece of that exists in her universe. Now, obviously, some things I need licensing for.
Yeah.
That's what, of course, what the ultimate goal is going to be. But for the
Mhm.
things that we can and the small Easter eggs that we can put in, we're definitely putting that in there so that people can say, okay, right, that this is the universe that it lives in. Everything that you can ever imagine that you've seen, whether it be the Witches of Eastwick, whatever it is, I want a part of it because it all exists in her universe.
That's awesome. And first, for people that may not know, like the basic, without spoiling too much, like what the basic, plot of the story is.
So 600 years ago, or 600 years ago, there was a terrible battle which we call the Wicked War.
Mm.
It was called the Wicked War because when you divulged in witchcraft, they called you wicked. So war was full of everything that you can imagine, from witches to vampires, pretty much any monster at that time that was created, either by the witches or just by the use of alchemy or witchcraft. They all decided that the world should be taken from man. Mostly it was all headed by the witches, who were prosecuted and abused by men during their time. So they kind of spearheaded this war against man. And just at the last minute, when the war almost seemed like it was lost, there was this one figure that stood up at the very top of the hill and began to play a song. And that person was known as the Pied Piper. And that Pied Piper played a song which changed the world forever, immediately stopping the war. 600 years later, we find ourselves in the present, where we find the descendant of that Pied Piper, whose name is Pepper Piper. And Pepper Piper works for an organization which is known as WHO, which stands for the Witch Hunters Organization. Mm-hmm. So the Pied Piper had, saved the world from the Wicked War. He obviously wanted to continue to make sure that the world would constantly be protected from these monsters. So he created an organization which was called WHO. And that organization, from year after year, would just continue to have a new piper, once one was born, who would take his place and they would take their place and so forth, and continue to protect the world. And most people say, well, how did they protect the world? And it's because the pipers had possessed a very strong fable, which was called the voice of everything. And also another fable, which was called the sound of everything. The sound of everything was a fable that was used in order to save the world. So the witches and the monsters have always been at bay because they're like, we don't want that to happen. It was ugly. It was very ugly. I would like to give away what he did, but imagine if you and your crew to go to somebody's house and take business, and you watched each and every one of the people in your crew off themselves. Probably wouldn't want anything to do with that after that. Every 20 years or so, when another piper is born, they're like, all right, we got to back up because so now we fast forward to the future, and there's a new piper. Her name is Pepper, and she's a little different than the other pipers before her. Her own special way.
I mean, it's so cool, and I know from a lot of people that have reviewed the story and everything like that. One thing that rings true is like they're very I'm even interested in like the power system, like the fable system, because it's just because it just plays on the whole thing with the folklore. Like I'd never seen anybody combine that and like create a power like that, and it's just like their power is like centered around whatever fable that they called upon. So but my question is, it's like, how did you even come up with that and like make it as cohesive? Because it's very cohesive, and it's just like how did you take that and create a whole system for it?
Love for anime. Love for anime. That was a lot of this inspired by anime. My love for anime, I always noticed that they have very strong power systems, but their power systems usually have something to do with either bloodline or history, i.e. Dragon Ball with the same bloodline. I just was always fascinated. I think a lot of us are fascinated by that. So when I was creating this character, I was like, I want the power to be something that's either passed down or that was inherited and something that was true to the characters. So I decided, I was like, well, I need a name for it, right? I just can't be like power go, right? So I was like, well, I'm working with fable characters. I'm looking for characters from Fable. So I was like, I should call it a fable. So this power system is known as their fable, and that fable is what's connected them to whatever situation, we'll say, or fable occurred to them or their family member from the past. So like Idris Kane, he's one of our characters. His descendant was actually Ichabod Crane. So the situation that took place with Sleepy Hollow is in his family heritage. So when he was being able to conjure up the headless horseman and have him to, do his bidding. But the only thing with that is every fable also comes with consequences.
Mm.
So you use your fable at will because, again, it's a curse. It's not actually a gift.
Mm.
So every fable has a consequence for using it.
You see that? That's amazing. And what I love is like how much diversity and like representation you have, is particularly for, because you have a Black female lead, and I feel like it's very relatable. Like, it's something that we're missing in some stories, because like not only, like for LGBT, for queer, alt, goth, the list goes on when it comes to the story. And I wanted to ask, how important was it for you to have all of these different things represented in this story for us in the community? Because I feel like a lot of different people that have reviewed it, they're just like, oh, I see myself in it. Whether it was like, oh, because I'm bisexual, or I'm this, or like I too am finding myself. I don't really know like where my path is, but I'll figure it out along the way. Like, how important was it for you to have all those different type of representations in this story particularly?
It was the most important thing. And I would say first, the most important thing was that it was a female character.
Mm.
Call me a simp, but there's a strength in women that exists. Yeah. And even in watching anime, I love to see strong female characters, because I feel like that there's an internal strength that females have that isn't sometimes physical, and that internal strength can be stronger than physical. And I don't think you see that enough. So I wanted this character to embody that. But aside from that, I wanted her to embody the different sides of women that we don't see, right? Because we don't, sometimes you'll see a goth guy in a movie, vampire, right?
Yeah.
Right. But we never seen like a straight up female. That's goth, that's bi, that's this, that, like that, have all these different elements about her and can speak on behalf, or if not speak on behalf, can at least say, I'm you. I'm going through what you may be going through. So if you want to see how I deal with it, then you can follow my story and you can see how I deal with certain things. Even when it comes to the fact that she's biracial, again, you may not be biracial, or you may, but either way, you can see what she goes through, so you can have a different perspective of what it's like to be that person through that, and I feel like Pep, she does a really good job of being able to be that type of person to say, I'm strong, I'm a female, I'm strong, and I'm also all these other things. And if you don't like it, then you can kick rocks.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I love that about her. And I love the fact that, other women are seeing that part of her and knowing that, like, oh, this is a character that's pretty much saying, you can kiss my ass if you don't like who I am. I'm here to stay, and also, I juggle the responsibility of being this said person that's supposed to save the world, but I'm going to do it on my time and on my means. I'm not going to do it because of the people say I have to do it this way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I know you did touch on that like in a few videos where you're just like, oh, you wanted your story to be where the characters can be like messy, like have their emotions, but still able to do what they have to do. And I would say, what was like your experiences, I guess, prior to making the story that really compelled you to be like, I need to make sure this is shown? Because like, was it because like in other areas you've seen it severely lacking? Like, what was your experience? Because I've heard from different people that have been on the show, like, shout out to our friends at Midnight Comics, like, they started creating their own stories because they were like pissed off of like with like Marvel and comic, like they were repeating the same different things. So what was your experience when it came to like fleshing out your characters and the type of personalities and stuff that you would show in like your comic?
I would say Black cosplayers, female cosplayers, because of the ridicule they receive, from not being able to forwardly embody other characters. And I literally would find myself being pissed off when I would see videos of them coming out saying, oh, this person said this about me, or this person said this about me, or said, you can't cosplay this character. And I was like, all right, I will create my own badass character that not only will be badass, but will be better than yours, that can put hands on yours, and will be somebody that if you dare cosplay her, then people will be like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So that was really the initial reasoning behind it. It was like, I'm gonna make Pepper Piper so cool and so dope that everybody would want to cosplay her. But if you do, they'll still look at you with a side eye. We won't judge you. Just know because we know what it is. We know what it is. Okay, we know what it is. She may be biracial, but that character got color. I don't care what. I know, because I was very much involved in that part. Artwork was being drawn, so you can cosplay her if you have blonde hair, but we both know that character has color. So cosplayer, but you better get a good tan, a really good long one before you come to that convention. We all know what Pepper is, and Pepper has no problem with telling you what she is. That's the other thing I love about her. She knows she's mixed, but she identifies as something.
Yeah.
So get that twisted. She identifies as being black. Okay? If you cosplayer, you're cosplaying someone black. Don't let the backstory fool you. You are cosplaying as a black woman. I'm so sorry for you. That is what it is. I'm sorry for you. Doesn't matter what color her hair is or her eyes. She is black. She will tell you that. She will tell you that to your face.
Yes, that's very true. And one thing I wanted to ask is, like, when you created the story and it was getting pushed, and you're blurred, you love the things that you love, and we accept you wholeheartedly. How did you feel, once you guys started, sending out the comics for people in the community to review, and then once, because you have merch as well for the story, and you saw different people in the community rocking it and sharing their reels and their videos and their reels and their reviews for it. How do you feel that so many people in the community have accepted the story, have been willing to like promote it and share it in the way that they have? Even me, seeing the people that like, because there's a lot of mutuals that I know that like know about the story and like have been willing to read the comic and review, and I'm just like, I'm happy for you. And I want to ask, how do you feel about all the support that you've gotten since creating like the story?
It's definitely been overwhelming. One thing I do have to say is shout out to Next Step, because I don't want to give the impression that I'm just a black man that's writing a story about a woman, and because I think I know what that experience is. It is not. Anytime Pepper goes through something, I have a writing room, women from all different shapes, sizes, backgrounds, genders. Like, trust me, y'all, I get beat up.
You get beat up?
I get beat up. They're like, one person might be like, no.
You're like, no.
That doesn't happen. And then somebody else might be like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, y'all are two different people. And they're like, it doesn't matter. She wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I'm not just a man that thinks he understands a female perspective. There is a room full of women from all different, again, goth, skaters, like you name it, people in the LGBTQ community, like these. I'm surrounded around this, and they are all, nope, wouldn't say that, nope, don't write that, nope, she would not. And what's funny is they're all in agreement, so that makes it hard for me, because I'm like, nobody agrees with me in this room, and they're all like, no, and I'm like, all right, I'll change it. So that's why I'm such an advocate, because I'm like, Pep is literally created by everyone for the most part. So it's not just me. I come up with the cool story and the things that happen to Pep, and kind of how her story unfolds. But when it comes to that personality, that is a combination of multitude of women that also don't play that. So that badass attitude that y'all love so much about Pep, it ain't me. I will never take credit for that. Again, I understand the female experience. I do not. Do not get this wrong. I am not out here just writing to be writing.
Yeah.
I am a good writer, but
Yeah.
when it comes to writing a character with that much depth and personality, I would never take
You're like,
credit.
nah. You're like, nah, like I'm not.
I'm probably get beat up again. So I'm not gonna get beat up, and I'm not gonna lie. So those are two things I'm not gonna do. But to answer your question, that group of females are so intent on Pepper being seen that they're the ones that were like, all right, how much did you get paid this week? All right, how much did you get paid this week? Cool. Alicia, go find any cosplayer of color and cosplayers that show respect to our community. Reach out to them and let them know that PEP exists and that we want to send them a free copy. And the only thing we ask them to do is only if she resonates with you and you and her, do you make a video for her? If you feel like it's not for you and it's not your cup of tea, take the comment, throw it in the trash. We'll call it even. Been blessed to have everyone that we've sent one out to make a video.
Wow.
And I think that's just awesome and dope because, you know, again, the people that help create this thing are saying, we're taking our own hard-earned money out of our checks that we make every week. We're paying for the comic and we're paying to have it sent to you because we know that this is what you need. You know, so it's not so much about, oh, just buy it. We're telling you it's dope. We're literally saying it's so dope here. Take it and see how dope it is. The only thing we ask is that you tell other people how dope it is. That's all. We're not asking you for any money. We're not asking you for it. We're not even asking you to do it if you don't think it is. Like, we're just saying, if you really truly like feel like other people need to see this, then tell them. And again, we've been blessed that, you know, the people that have done it have all made videos and have said, you know, great things about it. So that part makes me cry. It does. Every time somebody one, I shed tears because it's just like, because I know obviously how this story is going to go. And I know how strong this character, once people really start to see how cool she is and how dope she is and how cool the Fable system is and all the different people that she interacts with, and then the internal things that she deals with, you know, whether it be dealing with race or her background or who she is, like all of those things. There's a character, I'll just say this real quick. So there's a character known as Orion Hood. Orion Hood is a descendant of Robin Hood. But the thing is he is very much into the church and very much in the hood. And there's a scene in the second issue where he's talking to Pepper and they're talking about, because she used to date him back in the day. And he's like, she's like, oh, you're a cheater. That's why, like, you broke up with me because you're a cheater. And he's like, I broke up with you because you weren't a cheater. I broke up with you because your parents are gay. Like, so like, he is very much like just ignorant, right? He's just and when I say representation, I don't think everybody understands this. I represent everyone. So even someone that's ignorant, right, towards the rights that people have and the freedom that people have to love whoever they want to, you're in there. You're in the book. You still have representation. I don't say that what you believe is real or not, but I just show how you and this other person have to interact with each other, right? Because at some point in time, he's going to have to learn to overcome what he's been taught in order for Pepper to complete something. But I still put him in there, right? So it's just like everybody is going to be represented in some way, shape, or form, you know. And again, even the ignorance of that is something that Pepper is going to have to deal with. Now, granted, in the comics, she dealt with that by punching them in the nuts.
I mean, hey, listen.
You can't see that it coming, buddy. But again, that's the kind of character she is. You know, she's gonna back up whoever she is. She's gonna back up whoever she loves, and that's kind of who she is. She's the one that's gonna kick somebody in the nuts who says something about people that love people, and she doesn't stand for that.
Yeah, that's true. And one major congratulations, and then also question of how you did it, because in the first year you had at least three issues by the end of the year out. Now you mean to tell me you're gonna have 6 in total this year?
Yeah.
Let us know the process. Let us know the sauce of how you're doing this, because first off, I just You know how hard it is just to get the first issue out.
Yes.
You're gonna have 6. So please let us know how you accomplish this feat.
I mean, I could give you the social media friendly version, or I could just
whatever version.
Look, a lot of people like so, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth. All right, so because I don't feel like I don't want to feel like I'm throwing shade on anyone.
Yeah.
So two of the biggest things that this company literally set out to when it first got started was, number one, we didn't want to take money from anyone. So that's why you don't see us with like GoFundMe's and stuff like that. Not saying people shouldn't do that. Trust me. And the reason that I say that, to cover myself, is I've actually, true story, being completely open with you guys, I've given blood, plasma twice a week for several months to help pay my portion of getting this comic made. But I've done that because the company set out and said, we're never going to ask people for money. We're going to do this on our own. And they said the only reason they wanted to do that wasn't for some prideful reason. They said, and this is true, I'm quoting them in this, they said that they don't want to give the fans a reason to believe that if we don't reach that the series will stop.
Okay.
And it made sense to me because I was like, y'all don't want free money? Like, I was like, wait, like, hold on now. Like I'm giving blood here. Like, I'm dying. Like, I'm dying. Like, I'm coming to my half. I'm dying. So, and people are doing GoFundMe. So I don't think it makes sense to me. I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to die when the 10th issue comes out. Like, can we talk? Like, can we try to see what happens? And they were like, no, we're not doing it because, let's say, for instance, we do 2 issues, right? And then we do a GoFundMe. Then people are gonna like, I'm not gonna buy that comic because the minute they don't reach their goal, the series ends. So why would I invest time into this character? And again, this isn't throwing shade at anybody, right? Like there's comic series that are doing good. Y'all have huge followings, huge fan base. So it's easy for them to be able to do it because their fans want that, right? And they know they're gonna reach it. And like there's tons of names I could go off. Midnight. Like they always hit their goal because their fans want to see more. But for a fresh young company like we were coming out the gate, you know, so again, like that was one of the things. The second thing, I don't remember where my brain was thinking, but about all the blood that I lost. God, y'all, I gave blood. Like, oh yeah, back to the issues. Yeah, so second part, like y'all think I'm playing with you. I got receipts. I will go on my phone right now. I don't want y'all to think this is no cap. Like this is real on this show.
No, I believe you.
Some bills didn't get paid. Like it was ugly, y'all. Like this ain't no marble. Okay. Yeah. So the second part is it was on my mind. Oh yeah. So the issues. So I actually had a head start. The first very first Pepper Piper was written as a movie. So the very first idea of it was written as a movie.
Yeah.
And the comics came. So we had this, and I don't think people know this was already 3 years written ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the first 10 issues were already written before we got to this part.
Okay.
Yeah, this is actually an ongoing series. You guys are in the very first part. And then after this, there's another 10 comics that tells another story where a lot of things happen. And then after that, there's another 10-part series where something else happens. So we're looking at 30 comics. I'm actually already working on the second, you know, of the 10 of the next series. Can't tell you guys, can't tell you what happens in that, but it is very anime-esque, like very anime-esque. So I'm gonna say that. You can take from that what you want. So doing the 3, the only issue was getting the artist to get busy. That was what it came down to. The scripts were already written, all of that was good. So we're going as fast as the author can. I mean, sorry, as far as the artist can draw. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Okay. I mean, y'all are doing a great job. I just have to say, and like that's why I had to ask the question because I'm like, listen, like y'all gotta realize they are feeding us. They are feeding us. Like you have to appreciate it. And like my girl Room for the Verse said, you were in the trenches, sir.
In the trench. And the second reason that and this is the second biggest one is, of course, obviously, like we understand that. How can I put this in again a very politically correct way? We understand that Pepper is biracial.
Yeah.
And we want people to understand that there's another character that may speak closer to some of the African Americans in our community that are my color.
Yeah.
And she is making her debut in issue number 6. Her name is Little Red. She is a beast. You might have seen some pictures of her. They posted some.
Yes, I saw it.
They are trying to rush her into this world to the fans, because we know that when you guys see Little Red, it is it's over. Like, it's a wrap. Like, you want to talk about cosplay, like, so I'll tell you, she's obviously Little Red. She's a werewolf. But if I could give a character to her name, she would be the Vegeta of our series. So if for all those Vegeta fans that love that badass, like, screw this, like, that, she is her. Because in our series, which is a cool thing, all of our werewolves are a lot of our monsters in our series are created to represent certain different minorities. So with doing that, werewolves can only be turned by other werewolves. And our werewolves in our community, the werewolves in our story, are all Black. There are no white werewolves or Spanish. You have to be. It's almost like you have to be African American. You have to have Black blood in you to be a werewolf. And that being said, the werewolves are much larger and much stronger than some of the other monsters in our series. Like, they are the strongest. They are the ones that, like, come and wreck shit. Little Red is the runt of her tribe, of her what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know if you want to say litter. That sounds like this wrong.
She's the runt because she's actually smaller than most other werewolves. Like, she's small. She was born that way. You don't call it a handicap or whatever you may. So she's had to make that up by being feisty and strong, because everyone teases her for that. So to me, she's the true epitome of a strong woman. Because she's looked down upon her own people for being weak because she's smaller than the rest of them. So she really, really is, like, just right, finds that strength from below. And of course, her real strength comes from her heritage, So they, again, just to sell that. And of course, she has 2 bodyguards, which are also because her mother is very well known in the community. Like, their clan, if you would, for lack of a better term, is really well known. So she's kind of like a princess in a sense, I want to say. So she has 2 bodyguards. Her 2 bodyguards are African American women, one that's extremely well built, and that goes out to all of our weightlifters out there. And we have one that's very athletic. That trio is what we want to see at conventions. That trio is what we want to see. Because, again, now the weightlifters can be represented, like the ones that are like Little Red can be represented. So we're trying to rush that for you guys, because we know that when you see those 3, you're going to be like, where did this come from? Like, yes, like, give us more of this. So that's the other reason why we're speeding as fast as we can, because we want the community to see Little Red and love her. So that way everybody is like, oh, that looks like me. Oh, that looks like me. Oh, that looks like me. Idris is for the guys, so they can be like, oh, that looks like me, So we want to make sure everybody is represented, and we're that's the goal, is to pump it out so you guys can constantly see new people. In fact, in issue number 3, there are 3 baddies. You might want to have seen them.
Yes, I saw.
They are like assassins, as Pepper calls them. They're assassins with cheat codes. So they are badass too as well. Thick, beautiful Black women that will wreck your shop. So we're trying to feed you guys, so you have more than enough choices, when you start, going to these conventions and stuff. So that's the reason why we're moving so fast.
That's true. And I also wanted to talk about the artwork and shout out to, PR DDLS and how did you find this artist? And I just feel like y'all work well together, even the way that you're able to translate, like, this is what I wanted the character to look and like how diverse they are. And so like, I have not seen any like issue or panel where like there's any issue with that in translation. So like, how did you meet this artist and how has the ride been? Because boy, man, like just seeing some of the artwork, I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, so he's actually Polish. He's from Poland. So he's an international artist that's working with us. And I actually had contacted several different artists about this project, and they all kind of were like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Some other artists that I contacted about this couldn't draw African Americans good. It was just like a lot of stuff. So one of my friends was like, go on Facebook, try it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I tried Facebook, and someone beat me for $150. And I was like, yep, that's not going to happen again. And then he actually reached out, and he was like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this thing. Now, here's a funny part, and he'll probably laugh at this months later. He was like, I'm interested in your comic, and but I got something to do this week, so I'll reach out to you later. I was like, the arrogance of this guy. Like, I'm giving you a paid opportunity. I told you this was like 10 series. Like, it was like 10 issues all at once. Like, how dare you? But that was like, it's just his personality. So anyway, I was like, I'm not going with him. And then of course, after the weekend, he reached back and he was like, hey, like I looked over the website and everything. I love it. I think it's cool. I'm not going to lie to you. My girlfriend, who's now his wife, funny enough, she dug it. Like, she was all in it. Like, she was telling him like, do it. This is cool. So I was like, all right, well, this is the character. This is what I want her to look like. And I sent him like, different recs of stuff, like, the hair and everything.
Yeah.
It's like this. And he sent me a picture back, and I was like, that's Pep. I was like, that's Pep. From there, since then we've been working together. And what I love about him is he was openly, or should I say, he was already open to the idea of creating worlds that had diversity in it. If you look at some of his pictures, when you see Black people in the background, color, that's just him. That's not me being like, oh, make sure that you put more Black people in it. He just, inadvertently just adds us to works. He went and Googled so many different pictures of New York City and really studied the idea of New York and the type of people in there. So a lot of that he did on his own, on his back work. But he really cares about the story, and his artwork really just brings life to it. It matches the punk aesthetic. And what I like about it is I kind of, because I know some people are like, well, I don't get it. And it doesn't make sense because like the story is kind of this and that. And I'm like, well, think of it as One Piece, right? Oh, One Piece. I was like, what $2 artist did this anime company get to make this? And then as I started watching this series, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, you get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. Like, it just feels right. And I feel like Pep is one of those stories that, like, once you hear the story, you hear how Pep talks and everything, it makes sense. It feels right. And I feel like if the story was like, how there's like the DC or the Marvel look where the characters are like, more human looking, more realistic. I feel like if I told that story, it wouldn't be taken seriously, as it is now, because it does revolve around fantasy. And the best way I can describe it is you're looking at the world through the eyes of a 16-year-old, because that's 16. So when you look at the comic and you're watching it, granted, you may feel like it looks a little cartoonish, but again, she's a child. So think of it like you're looking through the eyes of a child that's going through all of these different things.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And one of the questions I ask on this show is about like support, in the community. What do we do well to support each other in the community? What can we do better? I ask this question because everybody, based on where they fall in the community, has a different answer or input or insight to that question. Also, don't worry. Whatever you say won't get you in trouble. I have to tell us.
Okay, ask me the question again because I put too much thought in it. Like, up so high that I was like, I might not be able to answer this. And then when you finished, I was like, I missed it. I was thinking about it too.
It's okay. It's okay. It's happened to people because like they're overthinking like, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna get canceled? It's okay. No. What do we do well so far to support each other in the blurred/black community when it comes to what we're doing right now to uplift each other and get our work out there? What can we do better to support each other? This is a question I like to ask because everybody has different answers or feedback based on what they do.
I would say stop competing with each other. One thing that I will, again, I hate to praise my company, but one thing that Next Step does is, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but whenever there's a cosplay of color, they post it. Right? If Midnight Comics has a post, they post it. Right? If I think it's Alexis Wild. They post it. We don't have competition, right? Because we're not competing with anyone, right? If you make a character that's in our community that looks like us, we're promoting it. So that's what I would say is kind of share in that idea that like, we're not competing against each other because honestly, we're competing against them. So, continue to share and talk about each other's work because that's how it's going to get, it's going to get seen, right? Because again, Instagram and TikTok and all these other platforms only go based on shares and likes. So see something and you're like, oh, well, that's competition. That's a female character. Like I have a female character. I'm not going to like that. You're just hurting everyone at that point, right? You're just hurting everyone. Now somebody can't see it because just as much as I love my character, Pep might not be for you, right? You might be a superhero based, comic book lover. And there's other people like that. Like you said, Midnight makes that, right? So it's like, cool. But that doesn't mean that we're going to be like, we're not going to show Midnight stuff because it's in competition. No, it doesn't matter, right? So just that would be the thing I would say is like, if you're a comic book creator like we are and we're a comic book creator, continue to like and share each other's stuff. That's because who knows who from Netflix or who from whatever network is flipping up and needs to see that. And that one thing will lead to your thing, right? It wouldn't hurt me if Pep made it to the next level because they saw something else, right? I'm cool with that. I'm not going to be in a meeting and they say, well, we bought this and we thought about yours. I'm not going to be like, ew, no. Like I'm next, I'm leftovers. I'm like, cool. That was a great comic. Yes, we have something too. That's the best thing I would say is, Black folks, like stop competing with each other. We're always losing, right? The competition is somewhere further up. Share each other's work. You like each other's work and continue to promote and buy each other's work because something needs to be seen. It's kind of like, that's the best way to put it. It's like a smorgasbord, right? We have all these new Black creators and all these new Black companies. And for some companies, one of them, showing up more than all of them showing up. It does like, you know what I mean? Like they see one thing doing really well. It really doesn't make a difference to them, right? They need to see all of them coming together, coming up at the same time so they can realize that that's a market. And I know like right now there's like this huge push for one of the DC comics that features, a lot of African Americans, like the Milestone comic.
Yes.
That's amazing, but you guys are still putting money into someone's pockets that is literally telling you, make me more money and I'll make more of your stuff. Like just being raw to your face, like make me more money and I'll make you more stuff. I think it's toxic. And when they see all of our stuff making money, then they'll come to us and pay us to make that stuff. What we want because that's their money. That's the reversal. Make them pay us to make our stuff. Don't pay to make more stuff for them.
That's very true. That's very true. And I thank you for that input because like I had a in-person roundtable talk where we talked about sometimes because like they were saying how because I had a question about like indie comics and like what might be some of the limitations for some of them to reach like the mainstream. And I had said something along the lines of like, well, we kind of have to build a table you know, to get a seat at the table. And like what you said right there is exactly that. It's like we have to keep pushing our own stories, and we come together and they see that as gaining traction. Like your story, I will keep putting the credit where it's due, like your story. And people will come to you. Like you said, you want people to come to you to be like, hey, we're gonna pay you money to keep it like that. That's how we get those opportunities, I feel like. So
if you don't think that there's, because, and this is, and I'll just co-sign with you on this one, if you don't think that a company like Netflix, who created a special block just for the LGBTQ community because enough of them said we want to see stuff, if you don't think that there's not a hero, a superhero column there just waiting to be built, a African-American community, it's there, it's waiting to be built. But if there's not enough of us supporting in that stuff, because they can't write it. And it sucks because the people like that are even involved with the project that just came out, they're us. They're just not coming to us and letting us be the ones to say it, because again, why would they come to us when they can go to DC? Who creates that? Right? So again, they're still not coming to us. They're going to DC, right? Or they're going to Marvel. We need them to come to us, all of us here, right?
mm-hmm.
We have to come to us and say, hey, can you write a script about Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer? Sure, I can. I created that. I can write that. How much money you got? Right? And then see that do successful. And then come down and ask this person for this one, and this person for this one, and this person for this one. That's the only way this rat race wins, guys. Because to be honest with you, if you stop looking at things from the perspective of a person that's a creator and look at it from the perspective of a businessman, as long as we're all down here, none of us wins, because none of it's making money.
Yeah.
Right? And money is the key to everything. I used to tell my friends, I was like, the Hollywood industry isn't racist anymore. They're just all about money, dude. Like the racism ended like a good 10 years ago. They just want money.
Yeah.
Not even about that anymore. They're just like, is it going to make money or not? And your comic is too busy staying down here. Then you're like, that's not making money. I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So instead of all of us trying to be like, oh, I'm closer. Oh, no, I'm closer. I'm closer. And the roof is here. The only way that you can actually get to this point is if these guys up here come down to you. That's it. You're going in the wrong direction. Make them come down and be like, why is there all this money down here?
Yeah.
There's money down here. Where is this money coming from? Like, why is there so much money down here?
Yeah.
No, it would be so dope to see somebody like Midnight Comics come out and do a review, like a year-end review, and it's like $500,000 comics sold, and they could post that on their page. And then, somebody else from another comic book company could be like, oh, boom, 600,000. That's the kind of stuff that makes people go, all right, that needs to be a TV show. Okay, that needs to be a movie. But like I said, again, like, let's start here. Stop supporting them. As much as I know you guys love what they do, I love what they do too. I love it. But until they lose money and see money down here, we all will stay here. Like, it just is. Doesn't matter how cool that idea is or how brilliant it is. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, money talks.
Yeah. That's true. And I wanted to ask, because I always love asking people the setting that they choose for their stories. So, like when you chose New York City, did you feel like it was like the perfect place for like everything that you were doing? Like what inspired you to choose New York City particularly? Because like I know you're like a tri-state person, like shout out to Philly and everything. But what made you choose New York City specifically?
If you were a monster, it's the easiest place to fit down. Straight up. Places, let me tell you, I'm from Philly, right? And you could be somebody that's into some stuff in Philly.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a place to live. You may like this smoke, but somebody's going to question you. Like, they might get you, like, you might be like, look, I just need a place. I got like 10 grand in my pocket. I could pay up front. They might be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But then like second month, they're going to be like, so what did you say you do again? Or they just going to keep watching you and wait for you did. New York City, they're going to be like, you got 10 grand, you good. You can stay in that apartment for 10 years. They're not even going to know you there. Because the thing in New York is like, I ain't seen nothing. Like, in Philly, we don't see something until we see something, right? Like, yo, dude down the street, he got like 6 bodies. Like, I ain't seen them, but the smell is messing up my apartment. So now I got to say something. New York, they'd be like, I got bodies, he got bodies. Everybody just keep your eyes closed. So, it was like New York City. There are so many nooks and crannies, and like it's you can hide. And then of course you have Central Park, which is just literally like a fairy tale forest in the middle of the city. Like literally, like it's a fairy tale forest. It's huge.
Yes.
Ponds and lakes and shit. Like it's crazy. So yes, like if I was a monster and I wanted to kill people, but still not be seen, and also hold down a night job, I'm moving to New York City. I'm moving to New York City. Why do you think I started in New York City? It's a reason why they started in New York City. They're like, who knows what's here? I'm surprised they didn't pull out an alien. I'm surprised they didn't have an alien handcuffs. Like, we didn't even know he was here. We just looking. Like New York City, you can hide anything. Like I had somebody say that too. They was like, "Oh man, another story in New York City." I was like, "Yeah, you can hide in New York City. You can be successful and still hide. You could be a success. Look, you could probably be a Nazi and be a stockbroker and survive in New York City before people realize, yo, you know, he was a Nazi. Like I'm telling you, New York City is the place to go. You can hide. Yeah. You can make it.
That has to be like hands down the greatest response.
It was just the truth. Like that's my argument. Whenever somebody asks me, I'm like, if you was a monster, you would go there because you can. How many bodies get found in New York City? And then, of course, the other reason, which is the other best part, is I was doing some research, and this is like you got to Google it. And I hope don't quote me on this, but I think this is, there's like close to 4 billion rats in New York City.
I believe it. Yes, I believe that.
So for someone that has the ability to control rats, that is like the coolest thing ever. Like you never would have to go without. So, I mean, it's the perfect place for Pep. Like I control rats. There's 4 billion of them in the city. Yeah, I think that works for me. That's a brainer. That works for me, right? Like, fuck with me if you want to, but that's not a smart move. That's not a smart move. 4 billion? I don't even know what there's 4 billion of. Like, I don't even think there's 4 billion people on the planet. I'm totally wrong.
Yeah.
But billion? That's just. I read that. I was like, ugh. Like, I almost didn't want to write it. Like, I was like, I don't even know if I want to write this. This is nasty. It's just nasty when you think about that. No. Like I was like, oh, we gotta give her another power. Like no, that's the Piper. It's the story. We gotta go somewhere else with that. I don't want to lean on that. Like, can we? That's probably where the fable came from. I was just like, ugh, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's like I know they were like I'm pretty sure like the girls thought like, oh, this would be so cool because then girls will go out and they'll buy pet rats and then pet rats will get sold because they're like the whole time I was like, no, they not. No, they not. They might buy some fake ones, like the little cute brush doll, but then you ain't going. Yeah, that's not. I don't think that's how that's going to happen. No, they love Pepper from afar.
Yo,
girls go to the pet store like y'all got rats because no, we don't. What's wrong with you? You can get a hamster. You got no damn rats. Stop reading that comic book.
I'm crying.
Reading that dumb comic book and getting excited. Go buy a guitar. Don't she carry a guitar? Buy a guitar. What the hell is a rat for?
Wait.
Seriously, but yeah, 4 billion is crazy. But so yeah, another reason. Yeah, it's for that.
Oh, that's great. That makes it serious.
But I'll give you a third reason. Yeah. So the third reason too is like the boroughs, right? So like again, based on anime, you have all these. Oh, that's what leads to another part. So again, everybody talks about this universe business, right? Oh, this is my universe. Ooh, like,
yeah.
I am so against that personally because it's like you're already talking about a universe and I don't even know about your world. Like, build your world first and then start talking about a universe. So one of the biggest things is like, where could I build a world at? Right? A world. Start in a city. And if you notice, all superheroes start in a city. Metropolis, I can go on forever. Now I can't think of Batman. Good Lord. Gotham City. Start with the city, right? And then you can build your adventure around a city and then spread out, right? So I said New York City because I have different boroughs. So now I have different boroughs. Now I have different areas that certain monsters could live. I could have vampires really live in Brooklyn, right? I can have, witches take different boroughs and say that that's theirs. I can have vampires that live in Manhattan. And then the whole adventure with that is that now I can take places from New York City and I can use those places as the house for these things, which will make people that are not from New York City go, oh, that's the Who building. Let me take a picture outside of it, right?
Yeah.
Or, oh, I know where that bodega is. That's a cool thing. That's cool that bodega is in a comic. I'm going to go take a picture in front of it. So now New Yorkers can say, oh, yeah, I know that place. So it's like an Easter egg for them. I remember Room Full of Blurs lady was like, wait, is that? And I was like, whereas she knew her stuff. She knew that. She was like, oh, I know what a Hugh building is. I know. Is that St. Patrick's Cathedral? Yes, it is. So it's like an Easter egg for them too, to be able to go through and see different locations in the comic and know, oh, okay, that's cool. I know where that place is.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty cool. And I wanted to ask, what are the goals that you guys have for the story going forward? It could be long term, short term, whatever you want to share.
So definitely a movie, which, like I said, was already written, and it's really good. It's written really well. Aside from that, definitely we are pushing extremely hard right now for an anime. Again, because there's so many anime-esque qualities about the comic, and because again we're paying homage. One thing I love about, and you mentioned it too, is we didn't decide to call it a manga, and the reason we did is because that's not something I personally can sign off on, because I'm not Japanese and because I don't write manga, but I am American and I do write comics. I do read it. They grew up on comics. So in its initial idea, it's a comic because it's a Western word. However, we pay homage to the beautiful works that manga has brought us in anime, and we utilize those to pay homage to those people. When it came to what we decided what it would be, I would definitely say it would an anime. It would be a perfect merger or the next move, I would say, for it, because of the qualities that it has.
Yeah, I can definitely see it being anime. Better yet, yeah, there's a manifesting that.
Yeah, I'm myself. And I mean, if I didn't say anime, it would just kind of be just an animated production with quality.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like Castlevania was when Netflix produced it, and it just had really cool qualities that made you feel like it was an anime. I would say something like that. Just a really good quality animated series that would go on, and that would have very good qualities that would be reminiscent of anime, which is like The House, which is Who, which is the Witch Hunters Association. There's 7 different organizations actually in our comic within New York City that also help fight the monster population. And each of those organizations all have their series of characters that are all different races and backgrounds and genders and stuff. So we really want to show that and expand that so people can see just how big this world is and just being within New York City.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be cool. And I was gonna say, how fun has it been, to have some of the, artwork and the designs be on cups, t-shirts, merch, and everything like that.
Cool. Especially when I can see the people wear it. That's the best ones. There's certain cosplayers that have bought hats and stuff like that. So and have made videos or they've been given a hat or so forth. And then stickers and stuff. So it's cool. I saw a sticker in New York City. I guess somebody posted. That was pretty awesome. I was went all the way to New York City to see if I could get it, and the city took it down, and I was pissed. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, to even see where it's going, especially like I said, I think one of the things that, and this is again not to throw shade on anyone, just for us, that even the design of Pepper's look was thought out for at least a year. And tell people so these are 2 of the biggest things I'll point out about Pepper's outfit is that so her symbol on her chest, the unhappy smiley face, or as she was referred to from another cosplayer, Angie, it's a yellow symbol on her chest. Well, what other character has a yellow symbol on her chest? Batman, right?
Mm.
Her costume is gray and black. Batman's costume is black. So psychologically speaking, right? Like subconsciously speaking, should I say, there are elements to her that again pay homage to the comic book characters that we all know and love. I always say they always say, well, her eyes are green and her hair is yellow. And I'm like, oh, that's funny because I know an anime character whose eyes are green and hair is yellow. His name's Goku. He turns Super Saiyan. So her very essence, the embodiment of her are parts that we love and appreciate from other characters. So she is a combination of those things. And I think that appeal, at least to me, is what makes people look at her and go, that's a cool looking character. That's different. And then of course her punk aesthetic with her, her collar and her sharp wristbands, which again serve a purpose other than just looking cool. I know in issue number 5, someone asked her about that, and she's like, "Where do you think vampires try to attack? Where they're your veins, right?" So that's why she wears spike collars, because if they try to bite her there, they get stuck. So her very aesthetic is again to protect her. So it's just not all just to look cool. It actually has purpose.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I know you don't want to spoil too much, but it's just that particular like fable that the Pipers have, the voice of everything.
Yes.
It's so broken. So I was gonna say, how did she come up with that? Like
that
it's so broken.
So the voice of everything, what I love about it is it also pays kind of, I guess, homage to, I guess I want to say like the female mindset or perspective, because and you're the first one that actually I have a chance to explain. Somebody's like, how does that work?
Yeah.
It works off your subconscious. So the best way to explain how the voice of everything works is to say that if you were about to battle Pepper, and keep in mind, she has not acquired that. That's something that only, I think, one Piper was known to have before her.
Oh.
Monsters don't know that.
Oh.
But it's definitely something that had only happened like before. So like it's something that like is rare. But the way it works is it works off your subconscious. So like for instance, you're subconsciously, or you're conscious. So your conscious tells you that right now you're breathing because you need air to breathe, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your conscious tells you that you're a Black person. Your conscious tells you that you need to walk. So before you fight Pepper, she enters your mind, like pretty much everything freezes. And when you open your eyes, you're in a room with her and she's talking to you. And the minute that you make an agreement with her on something, be something as small as she could say, what's 2 + 2? And you say 4. The minute that you agree with her, she can consciously tell your conscious something and it will believe it because you've already made a conscious agreement with her. So she could say, you can't walk. And you would immediately wake up out of this trance and you go to the ground. Because consciously, she has made a suggestion to your conscious that you cannot walk or you don't know what walking is. And your conscious agrees to it. So it's the point that you cannot disagree with her once you already agree with her. So someone had said to me when we were in the writing room, they were like, well, what if I was like a god or an entity? And I was like, the fact that you're looking at her is already an agreement because you're admitting that she's there. So even before she enters your mind and asks you questions in order to get you to agree, you've already agreed because you're looking at her. You've already admitted to yourself that she exists. So there's really no way out of it. Like you've already,
you're just cooked.
And that's why like the other video is the reason they call it the fact that she has it but doesn't use it. The Piper pride is because she doesn't believe in taking the idea of options from people because she thinks that's wicked. She thinks it's cruel to put into your mind unwillingly and give you suggestions to do certain things in order to like win a battle with you. She thinks that's like cheating, but it's just to be the power that she was blessed with. So the way it is. But the minute that you admit that she's standing in front of you, the minute that you admit that she's talking to you and you can hear her, you're making an agreement with her consciously. And the minute that happens, she can enter your mind and give your conscious a suggestion, and your conscious will obey that suggestion.
So, okay. So that kind of explains how, like you say, like she'll use other skill sets before it has to get to that point. Like it's like she almost uses it like a last resort. That makes sense.
Like cheating. It's like cheating to her. And then let's say, for instance, that doesn't work or whatever, which it would. But the second power they have, of course, is the sound of everything. And the sound of everything works is based on the fable of the Pied Piper. They play music, you hear it, and then she again can give you a subconscious what I'm trying to say, subconscious, like kill yourself, and you would just do it. Like that one, you can't disobey. Like you have to obey it because you heard it. But in the worst case, if you were deaf, because there's a troll out there like, what if I was deaf? Huh? Then she would get you with
it's like, yeah, duh, of course.
Still get you with the voice of everything. Like, and we've talked about it. We're like, so what being would be able to stop her? And I mean, the best thing I could tell people is like, if you were a being that didn't believe in consciousness, but then the thing is that if you don't believe in any type of consciousness, if you don't believe that nothing exists, you don't believe that anything's real, you're still making an agreement that nothing's real. Like you're making an agreement. Like you're agreeing that nothing's real. That's still an agreement that you made because you believe it consciously that nothing is real. So based on the fact that you made that agreement, she can enter your subconscious and give your subconscious a suggestion. And you're still screwed. So like fight with Gojo, she would just be like, you have no power. That's and when he woke up, he would have no power. He would believe he had no power, that it never exists. So like she is OP'd.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, all right, well then how about something like an AI? And I was like, if the AI could respond, then it would be subjected to listen to what she said. A conscious decision to respond to her. What about space? And I said, does space bend? Does it expand? I said, yes. I said, then space is making a conscious decision that it should expand. It's making an agreement. Since it's making an agreement that it must expand, then she could subconsciously or consciously that conscious that exists and say stop expanding, and space would stop expanding. So really there's no limitation to that power. The question is when she gets it, will she use it? Will she know how to use it? Because remember, she's one of the very few Pipers that ever had it. The last one that had it died years ago. So there's no one there to walk her through this. Like there's no one to say, oh, this is how you activate it. This is how you do this. So really, as the series go on, you're watching her try to figure out how to use this unbelievable power, and then also making the choices. Should she use it? A very funny scene in issue I'm not going to tell you what issue it is, but further down the story, once they realize she has this power, she's talking to Idris, and Idris is like saying to her, he's like, all right, so like, how's it work? And she tells him like what I told you, like how's it work? And he's like, well, did you do it on me yet? And he's like, no, do it. And she's like, how do I know you didn't do it? Because you were that you didn't do it. And she's like, I didn't do it. And he's like, yeah, but how do I know you didn't tell me not to think? And she's like, I didn't do it. And she's like, you know if you did it though. And she's like, I didn't do it. And he's like, but you didn't. And they like get in this argument for like 5 pages where he's like, I think you did it. And she's like, I didn't do it. Because you could have told me not to think. And she's like, I'm done with this conversation. I'm leaving.
Oh God, that's funny.
It's like little funny things like that takes place. But that her learning, and then the other idea is like, once people realize exactly what the voice of everything is, then it becomes a question to the witches and the monsters like, well, why should we kill her? We could own that, right? Because what's the point of killing somebody with that kind of power when, if you think about it, if they could use that in a TikTok or whatever you may say to reach a global scale, they would control the world. So then it becomes a question like, do we really want to kill this chick? Or should we just manipulate her to be on our side and utilize that power for ourselves? So there's like a deepness in the story that really unfolds where it's like, And again, being a woman and hearing a group of women tell you how much they've been, persecuted and oppressed by men, that's not a hard sell. Like, I mean, I'm a man and I can tell you we've done some pretty questionable things over the years. So, it wouldn't really be hard to convince a group of women that are like, do we really need them? Do we?
I mean, I don't hate y'all, but yeah.
Right. I mean, keep a couple of them around, but we don't need all of them, do we? Like, like,
yeah, like I love and respect you guys, but like, y'all do too much of those.
Definitely, that's definitely a cool conversation because, like, again, Pep. One thing that Pep doesn't know who her father is, so in her mind, she's got a deadbeat dad. So she already has like a side eye towards men. Her boyfriend, one of her boyfriends in the past, cast a spell on her. Like, she doesn't really have a really good relationship with men, which is also another reason behind her, her sexual preference. So convincing her again may be up in the air. We don't know that, but yeah, that's just again another layer to the character and things that she'll have to question in the future as she starts to obtain this power.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of the last questions I'll ask is, how has this journey, from going to film to now creating your own universe and all the things you're doing, how has it helped you out as a person?
Well, for my sanity, it's helped me out drastically because it lets you know. I always talk about the fact that the guy that created the Squid Games literally sat on that script for 10 years. And every time he constantly went to a studio for those 10 years, they were like, no, this is stupid. This is garbage. Comes to find out that it was one of Netflix's most viewed, TV shows in history. But my thing is like, you guys have to understand, for every year of that 10-year, he was thinking in his mind, am I crazy? Because I think this is a good idea. And everybody keeps telling me it's a crappy idea. So, like, am I going insane right now? Because why am I continuing to write this thing and work on it when people tell me it's garbage? And then they get to that point to see everybody else was wrong, right? So for me, being a creator, to see, again, like the responses, getting the opportunity to do the show, you go to sleep with such a fulfilling, feeling in your heart and your soul, because you're like, it really was good. It really was a good idea. People really do like it. They love the character, and that is the greatest feeling anybody could ever have. And the fact that most people take the time to do the reviews. I mean, like, let's be honest, people could get the comic and be like, oh, this is cool, it's good. Not doing that. Like, and that's not putting nobody on blast. With the merchandise, that's happened once or twice. Like,
I feel that.
Shirts and some pillows that have gone out and didn't get a response, and that's okay. It happens. I'm not going to shade my community, but when it does happen, and somebody, because again, takes the time, because we know some of those villains are really high quality, man. Like, some of them are like definitely like top tier, and we're like, whoa, like that had to be like 5 G's, like in currency and currency. And to know that those people actually took the time, set the camera down, and did it and edited it, we're like, that's love. And that seeing that really just makes you want to, just cry. And again, to know people one day, like I think the day that y'all will see me ugly cry as y'all cry is when I'm in a convention and some girl walks down in that outfit. I'm gonna ugly cry. It's gonna be the ugliest picture, because I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be like, an ugly picture. Yeah, because I'm an ugly cry, because that's just gonna be the greatest day ever.
Yeah, I hope. I feel like it's gonna happen eventually. Somebody's gonna be like, I need to do this. So, and I feel like I like the outfits in the comic, because like, as somebody that cosplays, sometimes you just need cosplays where you can like classic costume. I feel like you can do that with these characters, which is pretty cool. It's like, it doesn't feel like it's like you have to do too much, like to embody the character. So I feel like eventually somebody's gonna do it.
I feel it. Yeah, I feel it. And what's crazy is, like, there's, aside from her outfit, like, she's got a sword that comes out her guitar, which I've never seen before. And I was on another And he was like, wait, hold on, let me think. And the dude went and Googled it. He was like, no, I think you're wrong. I think it's been done before. And he was like, oh, no, you're right. It's never been done before. Y'all, the sword comes out her guitar. Do you understand? So guitar has a guitar neck, right? And that's where the strings are, right? At the top of the guitar, where the head is, wait, okay. The head, the top of the head flips out, and then the handle comes up, and then she pulls the handle, and the sword comes out of the guitar. That's how she hides her weapon. Never been done before. Cool ever.
Yeah.
Another dope thing that makes the comic awesome and makes her an awesome character. But yeah, I just want to put that out there because I know a lot of people don't know that yet. So there is a sword hidden in her guitar. You can't get any more badass than that. So that's all.
Yeah, definitely. It was a pleasure to have you talk about everything. Hopefully you had a good time.
Oh, the best. Like I feel like I got so much extra because again, every time I do these, they're like, you forgot. And I'm like, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm human. I feel like a lot of the things they were like, you better talk about this. I got it out this time. So I feel really good.
Yay, we did it. Okay. Thank you. I hope I did good next time.
You know what? That girls coming at you. I'm telling you, they're vicious.
No, because I will say a shout out to them for like reaching out, making sure everything was setting up, making sure you knew what time everything was, like even up to like earlier on, like anytime I tried to reply back when they can, anytime I mentioned them, like they were coming on the show, you were coming on the show and everything like that, they like shared. So yeah, shout out to them and for even like trusting in me, like honestly, thank you so much. But I want you to tell the people everywhere you want you to follow you, what you're doing next, keep up with Pepper Piper, Monster Hunter, and everything like that.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on any social media platform at Vashmere Valentine. And also you can follow Pepper Piper's journey at Next Step Comics on every social media outlet. And you can also find some hidden gems also at www.pepperpiper.com or www.pepperpipermonsterhunter.com, which will take you to the same link.
That's awesome. And thank you guys for coming on to the show. I really do appreciate it. We're going to have another show with Urban Sama. You may know him from, Blurs Unite team and everything like that. It's definitely going to be a great show. But because I'm supposed to do my introduction, I guess. Hi, my name is Lizzie. My brand is AnimeInkArt. You see the logo over there by his head. I hope I'm pointing right. It's over here. Over there. Right there. But my brand is like I create traditional art. I digitally edited to create my own style. Thank you, my love. This is one of them right here. That's the t-shirt. Where's the back? I guess you can see the back, kind of. That's the back.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I actually wore it this time. We're not near the art wall, but whenever we're near the art wall, we show the art wall. But I started my brand out like that, and my mission statement was to support over time, because I found more, blurs and people that look like me, especially where I live, because I live in Irvington, New Jersey, and people still kind of embrace that they're nerds, stuff like that. So once I found all these people, it's kind of like I started highlighting them. That's kind of like how that started. And I've been doing that with whatever I do on the platform, and it kind of turned into AnimeInkArt Live Talk. So that's how I've been doing the show. That's like the newer part for like the past 2 years. But I have my art. If you want to do commissions, if you want to see where we vend next, shout outs to Virtuous Con. We were just there last week. We got to do the virtual convention. If you want to know about that and the Shopify store and the Redbubble store, you can go to AnimeInkArt on the Instagram page and click the link in the bio. Join the broadcast channel because they'll see everything, first. And, all the posts that we do and everything like that. And as well as we've cosplayed, originally for anything that we make, but then we kind of like it. So now we're trying to do it more. So we also cosplay as well on top of doing the podcast, top of doing the art. So it's a plethora of different things that we do. And shout out to Otaku Noir, because we were the cosplay model in February for them for their My Cosplays back last year. Thankfully, thanks to them. And we are an affiliate. So if you use code AnimeInkArt, you should still get free shipping off of your order, and they have a lot of things in store for you guys. If you missed the Virtuous Con box, I feel sorry for you for that, but They have BlurCon Geekney coming up next week. Oh my god, it's next week. And pretty much, they'll have their mystery boxes and all their awesome items and Legos and all that. So definitely hop on that. They have the mystery noir box coming out. Also, shout out to Blurs Unite. We have won the opportunity grant from them. Hopefully we get to do more with them in the future. As well as I work with an organization called Critical Care Comics in the New York chapter. So there's heroes that dress up as, superheroes from Marvel and DC. They have the regular volunteers and the agents. So we go to the hospitals. In Las Vegas, they have more hospitals. In New York, we have one hospital so far called Jacoby. We go once a month and we give comics and like toys to the children it's been the pediatric and emergency room department, because to put a smile on their face, because a lot of them either they live there, like they have conditions and they can't really come out, or even if they're sick, just because they're sick, they can't be outside, and we try to put smiles on their faces. They like seeing the heroes and getting the comics and the toys. So if you guys want to be a part of Critical Care Comics, just go to their page on Instagram, sign up. And if you join in the New York chapter, who knows? We might be one of the people that interview you and you'll be a part. So if you want to be a part of the cause, we greatly appreciate it. But that's enough about me. Like if you want to see that, check AnimeInkArt 1. That's for all the plethora of things. AnimeInkArt Live 1 is like our backup / more clips and stuff like that. But yep, and support the YouTube channel. It's free to do. There's all the fun shows that we've had in the past so far is there. And I really appreciate you guys. I do not know if we're at 100, but we might be soon. So I hope you guys have a good night and bye, guys.